Hey y'all, it's been a while again. Forgot I had this channel, but now I actually have a reason to upload again. Because now there's a new suspect in the metagame that I talk about on this channel the most. Ogerpon-Wellspring is being suspect tested and national decks overused. Well, OU. Pretty much know OU means, I assume. Now, why is it being suspected? Well, over the course of a few months, ever since Hearthflame's ban back in October, I think, Wellspring has risen up as like a pretty decent grass breaker as well. Pond breaker, form breaker, yeah, we can say that. Swords Dance IB Cudgel, good stuff. Wellspring Mask gives it an effective 156 attack stat in battle, pretty sure. And has just some good stats, good bulk to survive some hits from things like Zamazenta. I think you can eat attacks still from Weavile. And you have Terra to like prevent Torn T from revenge killing you as well, and Choice Scarf Tapu Lele. Your speed tier is pretty good too because you don't get fucked over by Kartana, which is usually one of your best checks, and then you could outspeed revenge kill with superpower, and even then Scarf never knocks you out, so you could just trade with it if you're boosted or unboosted, which is always good. And then you have to deal with other Pokemon such as dragon types, which usually do well into Water Bond too. But even at +2, boosted Ivy Cudgels can break through them as well, which is a little bit concerning because like Raging Bolt can get annihilated pretty quickly if you don't do the right plays. Because Thunderclap can be exploited, Dragonite can't come in more than twice if it's not Roost. Latios and Latias Mega are borderline not that good. If it Terras, it just loses outright. And at least Latias Mega can Thunder Wave it. But Latios has to just pray that it stays in base so it can Draco Meteor or Luster Purge it. And then Garchomp, Goji Fire, they just get obliterated. Archiludin does good, but Archiludin is only exclusive on Rain. Even then, it still loses the superpower, and it's pretty tanked by a boosted Ivy Cudgel on the Rain, since it's only a 2x resist, not 4x resist. Unlike its matchup against Power Whip. Power Whip does pretty good damage to Pokemon that would usually be able to like shove a boosted Hornleech instead off like Toxic Eggs. I'm pretty sure a boosted one is like it's a decent roll to just knock it out from full. Hornleech does give it longevity against foes like Alola and other balanced staples such as Lando that are going to tear on it by like Terra Water and all that good stuff. Some other sets that I've seen being used on it too is this set. Now, I'm not really a fan. I'm just going to say this off the bat. I do not really like this set. I don't really like U-Turn. I don't really like Sword Stance List. I've seen it perform pretty well in practice, surprisingly, because it's a good balance disruptor, you know? You could just come in, cudgel, take your stabs out, check comes in, U-Turn out into a Pokemon that exploits it. Like if you have a Ferrothorn come in, just U-Turn out into your, say, Zamazenta, and you could threaten it for close combat, or like your Volcarona, and then you could cure Quiver Dance on them. You could do all that, yeah. And then like Spikes could be used too, but maybe you get a lot of opportunities for Ogerpon in general, right? Because you get to come in and just attack things. But like, you gotta realize how much other utility options are in this Pokemon's move pool. I don't think Spikes is really something you have to compress on it though, because we have a good amount of other spikers that can be used to better effectiveness, and you could let your Wellspring be the most effective offensive balance breaker that you want it to be instead of using spikes on it. And then you have the other Sword Stance sets with utility options such as Encore or Taunt. Encore does good into Sword Stance list, or in general, it does good in Calm My Raging Bolt too, which would usually try to just boost up so it can knock you out. And it does good into Iron Defense Pokemon like Zamazenta, who would usually check you, but then you could try to just brute force your way through it with an Ivy Cudgel crit, and hopefully not have a team that loses to it, because that mod is pretty strong too, but that's for another video. Taunt is a good option too to just take Toxapex and Terra Toxapex and Terra Lolamola and Terra Dragon Pokemon in general with a way to threaten it with a stats move like Toxic or Thunder Wave, all that out of the equation and let you just click your buttons for free. Substitute is a niche option that hasn't seen use, but I think is pretty nice because you can substitute on Toxapex and just Sword Stance for as long as you want to. and you could just like substitute is really nice, so you can just stay behind the sub and click the buttons that you want to click. Now let's coverage moves that has superpower, knocks out Ferrothorn, Kartana, all that. Play rough just annihilates all the dragon types. Terra, Water, Ivy, Cudgel probably just breaks through every single thing I just mentioned, but that's whatever. They're still good coverage moves at the end of the day. Now we can highlight some replays with them. I think I got a few pulled up. Yeah, this one. This is just your standard Ogerpon performance in terrain. Comes in on after the Archluna has traded with the Zamazenta. Comes in, clicks Cudgel, trades, comes in, do all that good stuff, comes in, Terras, trades, does all that, and then you just like, it's pretty straightforward. This isn't really an example of how it's broken, but like, it's an example of a playstyle that it just demolishes, you know, because like, usually your best outs are either Archluna, which is a dragon but can still be annihilated by +2 Cudgels under rain, and then often that's a Terra in front of Pokemon that usually are pretty sufficient at revenge claiming it because of its pretty weird special bulk and its pretty poor matchup into physical attackers and special attack, relevant physical attackers and most special attackers, or the niche options like Poison Jab Swampert, Poison Jab Barraskewda, or like Raging Bolt too. Raging Bolt Rain helps you against Ogerpon the most in my opinion, because you can fire off a strong Thunder and just threaten Para and some deadly chip, which is always good. Now for a game where Ogerpon does what it does best, force Terra Dragon on Pokemon. Go into this pretty exhaustive stall game, but look at this. Got the predict right on the Toxapex, Ogerpon's boosted, Dondozo's out. Gonna think, oh no, Power Whip. Stall is ruined. But you see what it does to compromise itself? They have to run Terra Dragon just to stand a chance against it. And even then, you can still have a pretty bad chance of just losing it long game, because Dondozo is not the type of Pokemon to just exist for a pretty long time in this metagame, whereas all these other physical attackers to check. Toxapex probably has Terra Dragon too, almost fat build, so it can deal with Ogerpon too, along with other Pokemon such as Corvic Knight with Brave Bird to revenge, to trade with it, Zapdos to Volt Switch or Discharge on it, and Alola to actually fire off a Toxic and have some use against it, or just some use in general, because that mod's passive. But yeah, that's just an example of how it just like, what it does to most teams in the build, you know? And like, you see this team too, right? Ferrothorn, presumably a Terra Dragon Moltres, like, that's what you need to do to just even have a chance. And even then, it could just brute force its way through the team, because if you load into a Swords Dance superpower variant, you just lose the game outright. Even with Moltres, because +2 IV Cudgel does pretty bad numbers to it. It's like, you could prepare for it, right? And often in games, you could offense it, play it. But in the builder, it's just really, really constraining. Because, like, truthfully, there's only a few select good, reliable options into it. You either have Choice Scarf Kartana, Ferrothorn, Raging Bolt, or Mega Latios, Latios, and your obvious Terra Dragon Pokemon. It has enough strength to just brute force through every single one of those options I've just listed. Now on to the next replay. I feel like this highlights another replay where it got all offensed, pretty sure. Now let's get into it. Oh yeah, it highlights a set superpower. Even with it being a neutral move against Raging Bull, that is still some pretty damning chip. Because now it's arranged to die to a +2 IV Cudgel. Even without Terra, I think. Because even if you don't have the coverage move you want, right? You still have enough strength to beat most of your checks, which is always annoying. And really, really, really toxic, in my opinion, in the metagame and in play. Because, like, having a way to just... I think every metagame should have a good amount of balance, but... You know, you can have, like, strong Pokemon at times, but I feel like Ogerpon kind of pushes that limit a little, you know? It's, like, too good at wall breaking. Like, a little bit Like, even if you don't have what you want, you will often still get some good results regardless. And that is like, I don't think that's too good to have in the metagame right now. And considering all of the past feedback we have received about Waterpon for the past, I would say like 4 months, I feel like it being suspect tested now is a good thing that we have done. And for my take on it, well, we could get into that right now. As you could probably tell by my tone and by my overall thoughts on this Pokemon, I'm voting ban. I do not want Waterpon in the tier anymore. I feel like it's really, like, it's not detrimental, like, it's not the end of the world. I just don't see a reason to keep it around and just have it good training building. I will admit, I like having a strong breaker. I like having counterplay to fat teams. I like it as a breaker in general. But I feel like it's just a little bit too over the edge, you know? Like, if it weren't for how it could just easily just smash through any of its checks, it's just really unflattering to me. Not in that way, but like, it's just, I don't really see a reason to keep it anymore. We've had it for a long time, we've gauged it, we've came to the conclusion from all these surveys, it has like a pretty consistent score of around, it's like in the mid 3s or low 3s, even a high 3 one time I think. But like, yeah, that's my opinion on Ogerpon in general. I'll be making a Rex video sometime this week, playing ladder, talking about all of that, and diving into some more stuff. But for now, I'm a pretty adamant ban voter. I feel like, well, as always, Rex is always, if you get Rex, you get Rex, right? It's up to you for the outcome, but if my outcome, I want to ban it. You all can do whatever you please if you get the Rex and vote. You can voice whatever you want as long as you get Rex. Don't forget that. Now, with all that said, I think this wraps up what I have to say about this Pokemon in general. I think it's time I get into some other Pokemon that could maybe benefit from it leaving. I think Rain in general just gets really good. Because, like, think about it. We don't really have an immediate, oh, this Mon 6-O's match up into Rain. And Rain has just received Archaludon and Raging Bolt. 2 pretty strong additions to the team style. Arguably, Archaludon is kind of like, it's really annoying to deal with in play because it's always going to get some kind of trait against most teams that aren't running a stall play style. Due to just how Electro Shot works, Body Press, Stamina build up, even Aura Sphere can work a little bit, but I prefer Body Press. And its stabs are just pretty good. Draco Meteor does good because it's Draco Meteor. The fairy types get annihilated by Flash Cannon, and you could click it into other foes like Lando too, so you don't lower your special attack boosted. Without Waterpon, Rain becomes really easy to just pilot without much fear, because like, not having any water absorb to exploit the Swampert or the Barraskewda, no mod to just immediately source sense up in front of the Pelipper, can't really like click your buttons against Rain, don't really have that safety net anymore, and that might be a reason why you want to keep it in the tier, so you can keep Rain in check. But I don't really think any player is seriously considering Rain to be so broken. Not broken, but like pretty overbearing. Another reason why people might want to keep it is just how, as I said, it's a good balance breaker. It breaks a lot of stuff, keeps after mentioned Rainmons in check, pretty solid into like Volcarona. Heat Trance not really notable. Trades with Darkrai most of the time, which is nice. I like to say that it does fine into Tapu Lele, but if it's Scarf, then you just can't come in at all because Psychic to it KOs. I just think it's a good revenge code for slow breakers like Metagame, Mega, and let's say Samurai Hasui, because like, you could always just like, Samurai is just a Pokemon that could be, it's either you make it or break it with that mon. Like, you gotta play smart with it. Ogerpon keeps it in check, nice thing to have against balanced teams, because Samurai is really annoying for balanced teams because of Ceaseless Edge, but you know. But yeah, that's another reason why you might want to keep it. there's also, like, while I said that it could beat most counterplay, you realize that it has to obtain a boost first. If you can, like, position yourself to make sure it doesn't boost up, that would be pretty good for you, and then, like, remove most problems that you would have. Like, if you can out offense it, or just put it in a position where it can't even set up at all, you will most likely have an easier time against Ogerpon, but that's pretty much common sense. But you gotta realize how you could position well too, but this mount is just innately a good, a naturally good positioning mod, because like this just does good and just so much, and it has so much opportunities to just click buttons. It's just really, really strong. An elite offensive Pokemon. I'm glad it's being suspect tested. I'm glad I can share my thoughts. I'll be voting ban, and that's it. I'll be wrapping up this video. It's a good thing to come back after a while. My consistency is always like a little off track, but you know, I've been trying to fix that. Summer coming up as well, so more opportunities to actually record. State testing week, so a little bit drained, but I just wanted to crank something out tonight. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed my rambling about this Pokemon. Stay tuned for a video where I'll be getting Rex, and that's it. Have a nice night, y'all. Or day. Wherever y'all live.